Ooh, hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scouts. It is time for team news. We've got Neale back. How are you, Neale?
Oh, well, I'm all right, yeah. I just see myself on the webcam for the first time. Absolutely terrible. I just said to you off air that I'm a bit of a downgrade on Gianni, but
Well, his,
you're not here for my looks anyway. You're not here for my
his hair was looking particularly
aesthetic
glorious
qualities.
yesterday. It put me to shame as well. We can't compete with
Yeah,
that level of attractiveness, but you're the master of team news, so that's what people want. So that's what they're going to
yeah,
get.
that's what girls really are after.
Did you have a good international break? You said you were looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been good. That'll be my last weekend off for 2021, I think, because it's getting even more intense from this point. I think.
Yeah,
Is it 10 game weeks or 9 game weeks in the space of 40 days?
that's
So
it.
yeah, not to get through.
That's what a game every 4 days. Oh, I'm not ready.
Yeah, and some really awful ones. I think there's a Christmas where there's one on Boxing Day and then there's one on the 28th as well. So it's just absolutely frenetic turnaround.
Ooh.
We might not get a team news video in then.
No, I know.
Maybe me on my phone.
Just you haggard crying as you type up all the press conferences every couple of days. Right, let's get into it. So we're going to go through all the matches as usual and talk about the sort of the key news of players for each one. So we'll start with the first game of the week, which is Chelsea versus Leicester.
Yeah, quite a lot to report on here. We had Tuchel up this morning, I think it was. There's been some weird timings this week. He was up at about 10:30 this morning, which is unusual for him. We know that Lukaku's definitely out. We've been seeing him in training this week, and we wondered how close that would be, but he's not going to be available for this weekend. He is close, though. He should be back in full training on Sunday. He's been doing individual work to this point. So could be back for I think it's Juventus on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then almost certainly for Gameweek 13. But yeah, he's not going to sit. He's not going to be available for this one. Also sitting this one out is Kovacic. He's going to be a bit longer. But otherwise, I think it's looking pretty good. So Werner's back in training. He could come into contention. I think probably on a place on a bench, judging by the comments. Mount's been back in training as well. Tuchel said he's been looking hungry and fresh, in good spirit, but would need to be evaluated. He's had this, I think it's wisdom teeth problem, which I think led to an infection at one point. So he sat out game week, was it 10? Then was on the bench for game week 11. Then pulled out of the England squad. And now we're here, game week 12, which is 3-4 weeks on, and it's still affecting him. So
Wow.
Tuchel said they're going to have to, see if he can start or whether he can last 90 minutes. So again, there's a bit of doubt there about whether he's even going to be in the starting 11. Should be in the squad. I think the flags come off him, but still a bit of doubt. Thiago's another one. He has been away with Brazil. Not as much of an issue as it was last time because in this October break, Brazil were playing in the earliest hours of, I think it was Friday morning. This time it was late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. So an extra couple of days. And Thiago didn't even play, I think, against Argentina. He was on the bench. So game time isn't a consideration. Flight time is. Tuchel said that they would run the rule over him because of the time differences and the air miles, but he said he was confident. So there's more chance of him, a lot more chance of him featuring this time than there was in September and October. And I think that's it. I think that's it as far as I can remember.
I don't know what's worse for club managers: the player going off and playing 90 minutes and coming back knackered, or the player going all the way for no reason and sitting on the bench for 90 minutes. It's either way must be pretty annoying.
Somebody did that. I can't remember if it was Mina or Davinson in the previous one where he went all the way to Colombia and then played 0 minutes and then came all the way back. So it's as I said there with Thiago, it's just the travel time and the arrival back. It's not the physical fatigue, more the mental thing. There's well stocked for centre half, so it wouldn't be a huge shot if they didn't risk it.
Yep. And how about with Leicester?
Yes, Leicester. They've got Tielemans out. That's a big blow to them. They've got and Vardy as well, possibly given the sort of supply line he provides from midfield. He's going to be out for a few weeks, according to Rodgers. Didn't put an exact time frame on it, but when asked if he was going to be back before Christmas, said he would. So I suppose even if it's a 2 or 3 week absence, given the frequency of the game weeks, that could stick him out for 5 or 6 games. But he's definitely going to be out of this one anyway. Otherwise, I think not too bad. Albrighton's back in training. Has been over the international break. Fofana still out. Justin's still out. Those two are doing really well in terms of recovery. Fofana way ahead, but still probably New Year time. Justin could be back very soon. He is already in full training, but they want to give him some under 23s minutes first. But he should shortly be back in the mix.
Good.
Not just at wing back, but I suppose at centre half as well. He's played as one of the 3. Amartey kind of been doing that in his absence this season. So it shouldn't be too long before he's back in the mix. Yeah, he was doing really well. He was averaging some really good points as well in FPL. I think 4.4 points per match last season from a lower starting price as well. I had him. He was possibly my signing of the season. I had him from Gameweek 1, and he was in an otherwise unremarkable. Yeah, he did really really well for my team.
He was the one that always got away for me. Like, I always had another priority, so I never got him, and he just carried on delivering. I hate those players, those cheap 4.5 players you just don't ever get, but just continue to do well.
Yeah,
really frustrating. Okay, so next is one of 3 new managers in the league. We've got Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa up against my boys Brighton. He's been talking tactics, Gerrard.
He has, yeah. We didn't get much team news in the broadcast section of his presser. We did get some late last night in the embargo section. So just to cover that one quickly, Gerrard says that he's going to be likely without Douglas Luiz and Morgan Sanson. Trezeguet is out as well. Other than that, though, he said everyone was fine. So we're assuming that Ings, the likes of Ings, is back. He was cited in training actually earlier this week, so that would make sense. Traore, I guess, as well, who'd been out. But yeah, in terms of what he's been saying, he's wanting Villa to become a progressive side, a possession-based side as well. Doesn't know how long that'll take. Obviously, it's not going to be a magic one thing where you're going to come in. And I think he's really only had a couple of days of training. A lot of these managers have come in, even if they've come in early in the international window, they haven't had the bulk of their players available until Thursday because of international duty. So he wants to put his own stamp on things, he said. But I think initially he said the club is conceding too many goals. So it's quite clear we need to tighten up and be more organised. So I think that's maybe what we're going to see initially. A bit of defensive resolve. We don't know exactly how he's going to set up or which personnel he favours, but he did usually play with, I think it was a 4-3-3 at Rangers, which bodes well for the likes of like Ramsey in midfield. If he's playing with 3 central mids and sort of inverted. Well, yeah, that's in a sense that kind of suits him a bit as well because Gerrard didn't really play with. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Didn't really play with natural wingers at Rangers. It was more sort of narrow inside forwards, and Watkins generally drifts to the left anyway, so that kind of suits him with Ings centrally, and then maybe Buendia or Bailey on the other side. And of course, it was Rangers were sort of characterised by attacking fullbacks as well. I mean, Tavernier, I know he took penalties at Rangers, but even from Morton play and getting forward from right back, delivered quite a lot of attacking returns in an admittedly inferior league, obviously. But Matty Cash definitely one to monitor under Gerrard.
Yep, it's interesting to see how they have progressed. I always thought 4-3-3 was the logical choice for the for the players Villa had, and it was interesting that Dean Smith went with a 5 at the back, and just never really. He kind of dug himself to the course right early in the season. He was like, "Yeah, Watkins won't play on the wing," and it was like, "Well, kind of should probably the best place for him. You haven't really got a decent left winger, and he's quite good there." Oh yeah, I don't know. I imagine that's where he's gonna go. How about Brighton? We all good?
I think so, yeah. We knew that obviously Alzati and Welbeck are long-term ones. Wetmo is the fresh
That's a shame.
Absentee. I mean, it was already known about this issue, but it's just been confirmed that he's not gonna feature. I think it was a groin injury which was sustained in the Newcastle game. Chum come off at half time. He's not going to be ready for this one. Sanchez, of course, we knew about, is suspended for this. It's just a 1-game ban. So if you've got a playing goalkeeper, which I checked live FPL, majority of people do have either Foster or Steele.
Steele is
confirmed. And it'll be Steele who's Yes, I mean, Potter said almost initially after the Newcastle game that Steele would play, and then backed that up yesterday in his press conference saying he's looking forward to seeing him play, that he's never let Brighton down in the past. I think it's his Premier League debut. I think he's played plenty of cup games, but has been on the books for a while, but hasn't played in the Premier League. So
he won us a penalty shootout once.
Did he? Was that in the Carabao Cup? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Newport County.
Well, slight upgrade in opposition this weekend, but I think. I mean, I'm honest. If I'm honest with you, Sanchez hasn't massively impressed me. Huge. I mean, he's an upgrade on Ryan for sure.
He's regressed. He's regressed this season, definitely.
Yeah, he's got that command. He's physicality, I should say, sort of size, but flaps a lot of crosses and sort of spills things a lot. I've seen, and I mean, he's in my team, and I'm keeping him for the long haul. But from a playing perspective, I've not been overly impressed.
I'm not convinced he's going to be first choice for like years and years. I don't think he's that good. I think he was just made to look good by how bad Ryan was, and did have a good first season. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we signed a new goalkeeper, probably in the summer. I don't think there's any danger of him recently, because we've got that Ajax goalkeeper as well, who's really highly rated.
He'll be on the bench.
Yeah, he's the tallest. He's the tallest player in the league. You know?
Is he?
He is.
Taller than Dan Burn. He was fit, by the way. He's fit, Dan Burn.
Nice.
He's back for this one.
I think he's like 6'8". I think he's taller than Dan Burn. Yeah, I think he's the tallest in the. I think he's the tallest ever in the league. I think I read somewhere.
Wow.
There you go. Stick him in goal.
Good stat.
Stick him in goal. Nothing gets going to get past him.
Was it Lewis Dunk that was in goal last week?
Yes, that was fun. I love it. I love it when and then they put in a free kick, just like one just didn't even have a shot on target.
Yeah,
it's like at least
only Newcastle would not try and test Lewis Dunk out when he's playing. But there we go.
That should change under Howe, surely. At least you have a shot against an actual player in goal.
Yeah.
Burnley Palace next. How's Barnsley and co getting on?
I'll tell you about some brilliant nicknames from Conte later in this presser, but very much in the dice mould. Very much in the dice mould. So yeah, Burnley looking pretty good. Stevens is building up fitness. He's going to play for the under-23s again, I think. Barnsley is the fresh concern. He's picked up a minor problem with it. Yeah, Barnsley. I think that's it. I think Lennon, he's fine. He's been ill, and he is been back in training. So I think that's it. The only other name mentioned by Dice was Maxwell Cornet, who's the main FPL interest in that side, I'm guessing. Still a differential. But he's been away with the Ivory Coast, and a late-ish return, but nothing. I wouldn't have thought that would be of major concern. I think he got back on, was it Wednesday or Thursday? I mean, they might seek to protect him, given that the number of games coming up. He's not going to start every game in December. I can pretty much tell you that now, because he's got this. He's getting used to the Premier League. He's come down with a couple of muscle injuries already in the first 3 months, so I'm pretty sure Dice will protect him a bit during December. It's just whether or not he's had the requisite recovery time from getting back from Africa for this weekend.
Yep.
But he's not injured.
Good. And Palace, we saw a picture of a certain Nathan Ferguson. Couldn't believe it. I saw him training. He does exist.
We did.
He's not a myth.
He does, yeah. What is it now? 15, 16 months on from when he was part of the template pre-season squad in 2021. He's been injured all that time, and he's finally... I mean, to be fair, this has happened before. He's come back and trained, and then had a relapse or another problem. So he's back in training, and he's going to be stepping up that training next week. Still some way from a playing comeback with Palace. But someone who has been out for a long time and who is back in the squad this weekend is Eze, who we haven't seen, I think, since the spring. He's been out for a long time as well. Has been on the cusp of a return for a while. Has played for the under-23s already and will be part of the squad this weekend. Almost certainly won't start. I'm expecting a sort of bench role at best, as has happened with the likes of Alicia when he came back. Hughes hasn't even featured yet since he's moved from Watford. So Vieira's sort of bedded people in gradually. Positive news in the fact that Anderson's okay. He was, I think he pulled out of the Denmark squad, but he's fine. Not so good news on James MacArthur. He's going to be out for a few weeks with a hamstring problem. I think he's been ever present this season. Been performing very well. One of the 4.5 mids who sort of half caught the eye, hasn't done anything massively impressive, but he's chipped in with the odd attack return. But he's going to be out now for some time. I think weeks rather than months, it sounds like. But again, during November, December, that can rule you out for a number of game weeks, given how quickly the games come around. I'll just check. I haven't missed anybody. I don't think I have.
I don't think so.
No, that's it.
Be good to see Eze back. I like him.
Yeah, he looked really good. A set piece taker as well, I think, if I remember rightly from last season as well. They've got plenty of those. That could impact on Gallagher, of course, longer term if he's taking set pieces off him, as happened when Milivojevic was brought back to the team. But those set plays are only just part of Gallagher's appeal.
Yep. Your boys next, Newcastle. New manager. New manager bounce.
Yeah.
Exciting. Against Brentford. What's Eddie Howe got to work with?
Yeah, pretty much the whole squad. So Dummett's the only one who's out. Dubravka has been available for a while. He's been on the bench for a couple of game weeks and played for Slovakia over the international break. And that was his first start, I think, since, this season. So Howe said he's got a tough call on how he picks between the posts. Obviously, Dubravka's still not 100% fit, he said.
I liked his comment, which was it was something like, "Is Dubravka 100% fit?" It's like, we don't know, mate. Do you tell us? That's why you're here.
I forgot now how he's part of that group along with Guardiola and Moyes.
Yeah,
he was the original. He was the OG in terms of vague updates, and he's back to poison our minds again.
Asking the askers if his own players fit or not is it's a new one.
Yeah, answer every question with a question. He's he says, we'll take it at face value that he says Dummett's the only one out, and then of course we'll get to Saturday and we'll discover that half the team's injured or ill. But if we believe him at his word, then it's just Dummett who's out. He did talk about we've heard from Gerrard and Smith talking about how the defence needs work at their respective clubs. That's also true at Newcastle, but Howe is sort of taking the opposite approach. He's got this reputation as being an attack-minded manager at Bournemouth, and he's pretty much said the same thing again in his opening two press conferences, that he wants Newcastle to be front foot, progressive, attacking team. So I wouldn't expect us to start keeping clean sheets anytime soon.
It's good news
but it
for
does
Brentford
bode well
players. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, very much so. And the fact that he likes a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1, it's not guaranteed we will see that, but we have to go, when we're predicting the first line, and we have to go with what he's done previously at Bournemouth, and he's mostly gone with a 4-4-2 unless it's been against tougher opposition. So Bruce and Jones had turned to a wing-back system to try and solve our problems, and that didn't even work, putting an extra man in centre defence. So I don't think Howe's going to tighten it up. But it'll be good news for the likes of Wilson, I hope, and St Maximum. You'd think we'd score more goals, and they've got some decent fixtures coming up. 3 of the next 4 are very tempting. If I didn't have the setup I have now, I'd be looking at Wilson for this 4-match run, definitely.
What about Matt Ritchie? Because I saw a stat, he's created the 5th most chances in the league from the wing back position. Obviously, if you're not playing wing backs anymore, does he move into midfield? Seems too creative to lose.
That's the hope. Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, that's where he played at Bournemouth. I think he was on the left, and I think Fraser was mostly on the right. Well, Fraser was on the right originally, and then I think moved to the left. And I think that's actually where he got his most joy from, when he was playing with Wilson. So yeah, the 3 of them. There's 3 players who played under Howe at Bournemouth: Ritchie, Wilson, and Fraser. I've done an article on this. Actually, I'll point people on the site if you want to look into that. Ritchie was a midfielder under Howe, playing as one of the wide roles. It's hard to know, because he's not an orthodox fullback, and I think we'll be suspect if we play with him there. Jamal Lewis would be the natural choice, I think, at left back. But we've got a lot of options out wide as well. We've got St Maximin who can play there. We've got Fraser, of course, Murphy, Almiron could probably play out wide. Joe Linton could play out wide. Has been playing out wide. So we've got a lot of options out wide. So I'm not 100% sure that Ritchie does feature, despite the previous with Howe, because he was actually sold by Howe after 1 season in the Premier League. He sold him to Newcastle. So it's not a given. I don't think it's a given that Fraser, Ritchie, and it is a given that Wilson starts. I don't think it's a given that Fraser and Ritchie play.
Yeah, interesting.
Long term, anyway. One more note on that is that Howe did say during his press conference that he will probably play more with the players that have been with him over the international break. So that we have had a few players away, Lewis being one of them. He was Ritchie's positional rival. So even if you do see Ritchie in this weekend, it's not a guarantee that he's going to keep starting there.
If he's moved onto the wing or midfield, he actually does present quite a good option at 4.5, creating that many chances in a more attacking Newcastle team.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that we were blessed with so many great premium options this season, we'd be looking at someone like Richie. But like, who do you lose out of? Chilwell, James?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
maybe switch to 4 at the back, but I guess you probably wouldn't. But I mean, a bit of a differential for something to consider. Yeah. Brentford, all good.
Get some players back. Baptiste's got a good chance of featuring. He's been playing for the under-23s over the international break. Wissa's getting closer as well. I expect him to cut into some game time, probably from Mbumo over the December period, I think. Who else have got? Jensen's going to be assessed. He had COVID while we were Denmark. He's going to be assessed, as is one other player who we're forgetting about. Let me just check quickly on the team. Zanka, yeah. I did see reports that he was going to be out for a while, but Frank said he's going to be assessed, and I think he's managed to train a bit, so it doesn't sound too bad. If he had been out a while, they've got a 3.9 million defender in Charlie Good, who came on for him. But maybe it's not as serious as that. I did see a quote from Frank saying he's been trying 3 different systems this week, so be interesting to see if he tweaked things at all.
Might lose the wing
after losing.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, they could change. They could play with three up top instead of 2. Push Mbumo out wide. They could, but yeah, they played with a 4-3-3 for much of the championship season. So it's sort of second nature to them. So not beyond the realms of possibility, that.
Because Mbumo did come in quite late, I think, didn't he? I don't think he was playing maybe at the start of the season, but came in and started performing well when they switched to the wing backs.
Yeah. I was reading a bit in pre-season that he had a bit of a stinking season, really, in terms of his standards. He'd been underachieving until that late period. I think there was talk of long COVID and things like that. I think he had COVID, but he's looked better as a sort of central figure than he has out wide. So yeah, that's something worth monitoring, because part of his appeal, of course, is that he's an out of position midfielder playing centrally.
Yep, absolutely. Norwich, Southampton next. So we've got our third. We've done Gerrard and Howe. So Dean Smith's straight into a job at Norwich, barely even left the door to Villa and straight into his new career. So yeah, what's he got to it? I mean, Norwich got their win, and it was Southampton that beat Villa and cost him his job. It's an interesting one to come straight into for him.
Yeah, he mentioned that, and so did Hasenhüttl in their respective presses, that they've obviously met each other a fortnight ago. So as don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. But yeah, he's talked about, as I mentioned earlier, he's talked about tightening things up at the back. They're conceding too many goals, which is stating the obvious, to say the least. He's got a pretty good squad to work with in terms of fitness. Zimmerman's, I think, the only one out. Even Sam Byram, who's been out for 21 months, I think he's going to play for the under-23s tonight. So obviously he won't feature in GW12, but he's building up his match fitness with a view to being available in the next month. And it's just Zimmerman. So Handy's back, Kabak's back. Cantwell, who'd been mysteriously sort of overlooked in the last few months of Daniel Farke's regime. I think there was a number of different things cited, like personal reasons and a lack of match fitness. He played for the under-23s, but I think there was something fishy going on there. But he's been back in training, and Smith name-checked him and Gilmore. He was asked about those two, to be fair. He said they've all got a big part to play, as has everyone over the coming months. So maybe a route back into the side for both of those two who had been peripheral up until Farke got sacked.
Yep, nice. And I'll save you a job with Hasenhüttl. Only Jack Stevens out. Everyone else is fit.
So that's good news for Livramento. Livramento was flagged, of course. He pulled out with a problem we didn't really know about. But he's if we take Hasenhüttl's word, that means he's fine.
Yep. And the interesting thing is what they do with the 3 forwards, because they're all in form. Chavins, 2 goals over the break. Armstrong with the goal against Villa, and Broja's been doing well when he's played as well. So who starts out of those 3?
Yeah, and Broja's fit as well. He was another one who was flagged over the last fortnight, but he's fine apparently. Hasenhüttl was asked about it and did talk about it, but you wouldn't expect him to give anything away. Adams and Armstrong, of course, are the kind of form pair. Started the last 2, both scored recently. So you'd side with that for now, but they're going to exchange game time over the next month for sure.
Yep, agreed. Watford United next. I'm bringing in Ronaldo and captaining him this week, which would normally seem a perfectly fine thing to do, but United have been terrible and Salah has been relentless. So it feels much more risky than it should be. But yeah, how are Watford looking at the back? Any hope for me?
I did see you've gone with Ronaldo in your scout picks as captain, which is something I've done as well. And I own Ronaldo already, so I'm thinking about doing similar.
Are you?
Something similar.
We'll go down together.
Yeah. that does reassure me that I'll share the red arrow when it happens.
Yeah.
I'll probably chicken out at the last minute. But yeah, United are generally okay. So Varane's out, Pogba's out. We knew Pogba would be out anyway with suspension, but he's going to be missing for longer with the thigh problem he picked up with France. Otherwise, it's just the usual 75 flags that you normally get over the international break. I don't think any of them are notable, apart from Cavani. Cavani, a medical update from the club suggested that he's going to be doubtful for this one. Otherwise, I think the three that are flagged, or two that are flagged, Shaw and McTominay have both trained. Shaw was a concussion, and that's long been served, that protocol. And McTominay had a throat infection, I think, but I think both of them are trained. Rashford's trained as well. He pulled out of the England squad, not because of injury, but just to get match fit. Right. He just wanted to work on his sort of stamina levels, I think, for the busy Christmas season ahead. So those three have all trained, and it's just Varane and Pogba who are definitely out.
Yep. And Watford?
Watford, yes, they've got a few problems actually. Let me scroll down to the Watford section. We've got some long-stand ones that we were known about already. So Ken Sema, Kabasele as well. Etebo is out until next year. Kucha, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's banned.
Yep.
He's collected 5 yellow cards. No, he didn't. He got sent off.
Yeah.
He got sent off. I think was it 2 bookables. So I think it's just one match. Tufan, who has been away with Turkey, or at least was meant to go away with Turkey, has picked up an injury as well. He's going to be assessed. Sierral is another one who picked up an injury while on international duty. He's definitely out. So they're down sort of half a dozen bodies, really, Watford. I think with those players are that none of them are really irreplaceable or have stood out or been ever present in. So they've got, like, I say adequate replacements, but like for like is probably a better word. They're all much of a muchness, that Watford team. I think there's no real, apart from Sarr, who himself's tailed off form-wise. Yeah. They're all kind of interchangeable, really, that side.
Damning.
Yeah. I still think they'll go down. I think they were mid-table a couple of weeks ago, but they're slowly being dragged towards us at the bottom.
I think them and Watford, them and Norwich are just, the squad just aren't good enough to compete.
I think it's whoever's going to get that third relegation spot. Obviously, we're in the mix as well. But yeah.
Wolves West Ham next. Again, I can save you a bit of time. David Moyes says everyone looks okay except for a really nasty injury to Ogbonna, which is really bad news for them.
Yeah, he's going to undergo surgery in the next couple of days, so he's going to be out for a long, long time. And we did have Fornals and Rice flagged. Moyes' comments suggest they're both fine. Fornals missed the last of Spain's 2 games. Reports said it was an injury, but nothing sort of concrete. And Rice was ill and pulled out the England squad. But if we're taking Moyes at his word, Rice certainly you'd expect to feature. Fornals, I think his partner gave birth as well in the last couple of days, so that is something to sort of half consider. But I expect if you're going for a West Ham option, you're going for Bowen at the moment in terms of midfielders. He was in red hot form. Antonio, by the way, did go away with Jamaica and scored, I think, twice.
Yeah, if you haven't seen his goals, if anyone hasn't seen his goals, look him up.
Oh, yes, that one. Was it the one against USA? It was a humdinger.
A solo run in his first game from like the halfway line.
Yeah.
And then the second one outside of the box screamer. Amazing.
Yeah. He's bring a bit of that into this weekend, please, because he's on a barren run for him. It's a sort of barren run, but West Ham are scoring at such a rate that he's going to start scoring eventually.
I think so.
Moyes did mention him, but he's come back a bit quicker than usual than he would from North America.
For a private jet for him.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
just to get him
him
back. I saw some of the photos from the private jets, the Brazilian and Argentinian lot, and how the other half live. So certainly not easy, Jed.
Yeah, I don't think Chris will be doing that for us anytime soon. If,
No.
Yeah, we can live in hope.
National Express coach.
Yeah, probably. How about with Wolves? Because Jimenez again, it rumbles on with him, doesn't it? With these international breaks and coming back late. What's the update?
Yeah, this will put some seeds of doubt in your mind, I think, if you own Jimenez. So the good news, in a sense, is that he's got an extra day, I think, compared to what it was last time. So I believe in October, he'd played in the early hours of Thursday morning, and then didn't start in game week 8. He was on the bench for that. Now this time he's played 24 hours earlier, which was Wednesday morning for Mexico. I think he was the last FPL asset in action, actually. He was the last one out there. So he's had an extra day to recover. But we've heard from Bruno this afternoon, and he was saying that he's not going to risk anyone, given how small a squad they got. They're not going to put anyone at risk. Which is, that would sow some seeds of doubt in your mind. He did go on to say that Raul's arrived on Thursday afternoon and had time to rest and recover, and has trained, I'm guessing, this morning. And ended that by saying they're going to take the best decision for tomorrow. So I would be, a little worried about that.
No private jet for Jimenez then?
Well, I don't know how he got back, but it does sound a little bit worrying. Maybe manage minutes one way or the other, even if he does start.
He was benched the last time, wasn't he?
Yeah. Obviously, he's got a better chance than then because he had an extra 24 hours. But this is something that has been mentioned by Bruno Laga a couple of times, and that he's been talking with the Mexican FA and said that they want to try and look after him as best they can. He played 90 minutes twice as well during the international break. A lot of these players who've been away of the countries had at least one rest. So Salah's had a rest. Cancelo, Diaz, all of these players. Mane, of course, had a real problem, came back. All these players have had some kind of breather, but he hasn't. He's played twice, 90 minutes, both times, I think, for Mexico. So a little bit worrying, I think.
Ooh, I've seen him in a lot of squads and teams this week as well. He's very popular. And the other thing is largely confirmed that Aït-Nouri would keep his place, but Marcel's back, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Marcel and Bruno Jordão are back. Fit, but as you said there, I know he's going to be playing again at wing back.
Lovely stuff. Liverpool Arsenal next, big game. Arsenal playing well, undefeated in 7, is it, or something like that? But obviously Liverpool
8, I think, possibly 8.
Liverpool in good attacking form, but a loss against West Ham, draw against Brighton, gonna be wanting to get something from this. And there's a lot going on in the Liverpool camp that's been causing a bit of a ruckus over the international break. What's been happening?
Yeah, what a soap opera this is. I mean, it's sort of even over the last 24 hours, because we weren't expecting Klopp to speak until today. But as often happens, he talks to the club's in-house media a day before his presser. So he did that yesterday. And we got a whole wave of quotes on different players. Headline news, I guess, is that Mane is fine. He looks fine according to Klopp, so he should be available for the weekend. Flags come off him. It was a rib problem he picked up with Senegal. Robertson and Henderson less certain. Yesterday, Klopp says Robertson's got a good chance. Today, he's telling us that he hasn't even trained with the first team. He hasn't done any full training. So he's been doing recovery work, rehab work. And Klopp said yesterday that it was a term I'd never heard before, DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness.
I know that's when you do your bench pressing and the next day when it hurts.
That's probably why I've never heard of it, given my wiry frame. Yeah.
No comment, Neale.
It's all muscle under here. But yeah, so it's all the games he's played, accumulation, I think, rather than something that's crept up on him, something that's just happened, I should say. So he went off during that Scotland game. They're still assessing him. Same with Henderson, who Klopp said yesterday had slightly less of a chance. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of them aren't risked for this. I think the fact that Tsimikas has come in and done a good job this season would make Klopp less likely to risk Robertson. If it was last season, maybe that would be different. But Tsimikas has kind of proved himself a bit already with some decent run-outs. And Robertson's form hasn't been that good, actually. I've sort of read a few Liverpool forums where they've been calling for Tsimikas to get more starts because Robertson's hasn't been as at a stratospheric level as he normally posts. Still decent, but So I wouldn't be surprised if he misses out.
I like Simicast. I think he's a really, really good player. Really good.
He just looked like a natural replacement for him. He didn't look like, how Nico Williams would be a definite downgrade on Alexander Arnold. He just looked like he could step in and play that role. There was more concrete news elsewhere. We've got a lot of red flags with Liverpool. Gomez is still out. Keita and Milner are still out. Firmino, crucially, for Jota owners, is still out. Curtis Jones as well. Obviously, Harvey Elliott long term. Firmino, this is the one that would have...
This is the one.
Sort of rigged with my mind, I think, if I was a Jota owner or prospective Jota owner. We thought that Firmino was going to be out until at least, mid-December? Because Klopp said at least 4 weeks. So that, I believe that was, early November when that was happening. And time frames mooted in the media has been 4 to 6 weeks. But we didn't get a definite on that. Klopp yesterday said that Bobby Firmino is getting closer, but not for the weekend. They'd go on to say that it'll take a little bit longer. So I'm guessing that original prognosis is still right. But that would have sent the shivers down my spine when I've read that. It might put a few people off. But
that's a good thing or a bad thing for Jota owners. It's I don't know. I didn't know how to take it. It makes me think that he's going to be back sooner, but he surely not.
I think not. I mean, he went on to say that Keita and Milner are the closest ones, and they should be back for Gameweek 13. So that gives you at least 2 games for Jota, I would have thought. And then we'll see beyond that. But we didn't need that. We didn't need that coming from Klopp. We needed a bit more concrete. So that might influence your decision. I don't want to make that decision for you if you think they were getting them in. But of course, there is longer term with people with Jota. Salah and Mane are going away to the Cup of Nations, possibly as early as Game Week 19 or 20. I think it was Game Week 20. If the African nations are allowed to get their players early for training camps. So that's one to monitor. But could be Fabinho, Ox and Thiago in midfield. That's about their only central midfielders this weekend, and then Jota, Mane, Salah up front. I'm sure we'll see Origi and Minamino at some point in December. It'll not be a completely free run for Jota, even if Firmino is out, but it does obviously enhance his game time credentials. Yep,
for sure. And how about with Arsenal?
This looked straightforward. Last night they had a medical bulletin that said that Xhaka and Kolasinac are the only ones who are out. Everyone else is fit and available, so says the medical team.
Partey.
But Arteta sort of contradicted that. He faced the media this morning after the medical bulletin and said that him and Aubameyang have to be assessed. Didn't really... I don't know if he was just playing... I don't know if he was being coy or what. But said that Partey had not done enough work over the international break. Had been, to go away with, is it Ghana? Is he Ghanaian? I think he is. But didn't make it. And I think they've only really been training properly since Thursday. So maybe that's what he was alluding to. He hasn't done much training time. Aubameyang, we thought had been pulled out of the Gabon squad as some kind of pre-planned thing. But apparently that wasn't the case. Again, I didn't say if he was injured. He just said that we'll have to assess him. So a little bit about there where there wasn't any in the medical bulletin last night.
I reckon that's mind games. He patches them up and gets them out. That's so important.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
we might even see training ground photos today, proving that they're both there.
Yeah,
and I think he's just trying to try and mess with Klopp's mind.
Yeah, so do I. Next game then, Everton versus Man City. Again, a bit of a scare for a lot of people in the news today.
Yes.
But one player is definitely out, and one player is a big doubt.
Yeah, it's De Bruyne is definitely out. He's got COVID, and he tested positive 2 days ago. So that would take him. I think his 10th day would be the 27th. So obviously he's going to miss this weekend, and the 27th is the day before West Ham. So I would assume he's not going to be involved there either, because even though he'd be technically free to play, he'll have no training time. And Guardiola's, generally, as with most managers, makes sure players have had a decent bit of training before he's even considered for selection. So I suspect he's going to be out for the next 2 league games. Grealish is a big doubt for Sunday. I think, is it Sunday they're playing Everton?
Yep.
He came back from England duty with some kind of minor problem, but it's not minor enough to make him available for this weekend. Guardiola said he doesn't think he's going to be available. But the big news, I guess, even bigger than those two, and those two were pretty seismic updates, is Foden.
Yeah.
So Phil Foden, who was, I think, by far, well, along with Cancelo, the most owned City player within active squads by some distance, those two. Foden has come back with, Guardiola described it in 3 ways. He described it as a disturbance, then a knock, then a problem with his leg. So he's getting better, according to Guardiola, and he would only say that we'll see whether he'll be fit for Everton. So flag has gone on him, and that is obviously not great. If you own him, you're obviously probably going to keep and then hope for the best. If you didn't, and you're thinking of bringing him in, then that is obviously probably enough to sway your opinion for 1 week at least.
I guess with De Bruyne and Grealish and Torres out, they kind of need him. So
they do. That's true. That's true. I mean, Gundogan for De Bruyne is obviously a straightforward one. So Gundogan, Rodri, Bernardo midfield, that's easy enough. But yeah, further forward, that means someone like Sterling or Mahrez
maybe.
Yeah, and those two have been on the fringes really over the last couple of months. So yeah, obviously Jesus you think will start, and then we'll see with Foden. But that's the yellow flag's gone on him. I've just seen it on FPL, so not great and completely out the blue because we didn't think anything had happened, unlike Grealish.
You make it, you save all your transfers, or you use your transfers, you make it all the way to this point, and then the last sort of press conference, like, this major player that most of us own is now a massive player. It's typical, isn't it? No.
Yeah, you think you've overcome it after the international is finished, and then here we are.
Yep, here we are. And Everton?
Yeah, Everton. I don't think they're going to get anyone back. So Mina's still out, even though he's been back in training. Gomez is out. Decore, Calvert-Lewin as well. Davies is a fresh addition as well to that list. He suffered a knee injury, I think, over the international break. Holgate suspended as well. He's going to be out for 3 games. So they're well. This is a good time for City to play them.
Yeah.
Just on Decore and Calvert-Lewin, we have got a bit of a time frame for them now. 1 or 2 weeks for Decore, and at least 2 or 3 weeks for Calvert-Lewin. I would take at Calvert-Lewin with a pinch of salt. Decore I would expect back in a fortnight. But Calvert-Lewin has been, I think he's been out since August. And we've had these before. It was meant to be 4 or 5 weeks, then 2 or 3 weeks, and then it just keeps getting added on. And the fact that Benitez said at least 2 or 3 weeks is probably telling there. So it might be we might be sort of near Boxing Day before we see Calvert-Lewin.
It's one of these ones. It didn't seem like anything at the time, did it? And it's just gone on for months and months. Crazy. Like the team we're going to talk about next, like Bamford. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, very very similar. Do you want me to just segue straight into that one?
I think that's a good segue. Yeah, let's roll with that.
Brilliant. It's almost like we practiced it. So yes, Leeds are playing Spurs, and they're still without Bamford and they're still without Aylan. And neither of those have got a time frame on them. What we do know is that they're ahead of Robin Koch, so he's out as well with this pubis problem. Giggle. And those two are It's the evolution word was trotted out again by Bielsa.
Yep,
in a slightly different way. He got creative, but he still used evolution. And we don't know when they're going to be back. We know that Firpo and Shackleton on Niera, they are both, I think, injury-free. It's just match fitness with those two. We saw Forshaw come in for his first start in 2 weeks ago, and they performed very, very well. And I think that's it. I think that's it with Leeds. Yes. So Spurs. Skip's out. He's banned. Romero's out as well. He got an injury with Argentina. Sounds pretty serious because he's not just out for 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days is the period he's got to wait for a scan, a second scan. So it sounds like something's settling down. So he's not going to be available for a while. The Celso's picked up a knock as well, a minor injury with Argentina. But Sessegnon and Gil are back. So I don't think we've heard it. Oh, Son was actually very briefly over the international break. Son was a slight concern because I think he missed a couple of days of training in South Korea, but then went on to play in the second international. So absolutely no problems, I don't think, lingering there with Spurs. Højbjerg, I think, is going to be assessed as well in training today.
I think he said as well, one of Ndombele or Winks will come in. Is that what he said?
Yeah, I was promised to tell you about these nicknames. So we had 3 from Conte. There was Skippy. For Skippy.
Nice.
Hobby for Højbjerg. And who was the other one? There was a third one.
Nobby.
No, it wasn't. He was talking about Ndombele and said, "What makes you think?" Oh, Winksy. That was it. Winksy.
Nobby would have been perfect.
I don't think Ndombele is maybe he's not in his good books yet enough to warrant a nickname.
That's true.
He said that he's going to have to do more for the team, and so maybe that's Winks is going to get the nod instead.
When Nobby gets rolled out, we know we can rely on him to be in the team.
He's up for selection. Yeah.
Perfect. That's it. Anything
else?
That's it. That's all of them. All 20 teams. Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. 1,200 people watching that, Neil. Your ramblings. Very good.
That was rambling. That's gone on a long time.
It was quite a long one, but it was a good one. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back again next week. Will we be back in next week? Is it? Yeah, we will be back next week, and then it's the Tuesday deadline, isn't it? And then it's and then the carnage really starts. So we'll be back at normal time next week. But Neil, thank you for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Cheers. Bye bye.